Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And I think Sir Walter Scott summed it up nicely. Oh, what tangled webs we weave when first we practice to deceive. And I think for Sturgeon, Murrell and Yousaf, those words have never rung truer. There are calls for Yousaf to resign. There are calls for a rerun of the leadership election. I think it may come to that. I think even within the SNP's own ranks, it is now clear that this election was a farrago. It was a farce. It was fixed. So, will they have another election? Kate Forbes seems to think that she would stand again if it were the case. And I think if she did, she would most likely win it. But we'll have a look at this article. It's one of many today, so I will ask you just if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell. I was looking for stories and I've come across about 12. I won't be doing all 12. I shall select the ripest fruit. But there's just so many stories today. And they're all truly excellent. It just shows the SNP for what it is. So, yeah, if you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button. But we will get straight on to this article. Well, it's actually a pair of articles. They're linked. Asking for a rerun of the election. Here goes. So, arrest of Nicola Sturgeon's husband sparks calls to rerun the SNP leadership election as the party descends into even more chaos amid a probe into the missing 600,000. Humza Yousaf, Sturgeon's ally, beat Kate Forbes in the SNP election last month, and an ally of Miss Forbes says there's been a material change in circumstances, and boy, she's not wrong. She can say that again. Absolutely, there's been a massive change in circumstances. I think it is now quite clear that the legitimacy of Humza Yousaf's leadership certainly is freely able to be called into question, and people are calling it into question. Humza Yousaf is facing astonishing demands to rerun the leadership election that put him in power in Scotland in the wake of the arrest of Nicola Sturgeon's husband. The First Minister last night lashed out at conspiracy theories from critics who questioned whether Miss Sturgeon, his close ally, knew action was imminent against Peter Murrell when she resigned. And of course, it is highly likely that she did. Mr Murrell was arrested and released on Wednesday, with police spending 2 days examining the family home in Glasgow in scenes that have rocked Scottish politics. Well, it's not surprising. We've known it's coming. Everyone's known it's coming, and we did the story yesterday about why did the police delay it. Obviously, it was political influence. The top cop, when questioned, failed to deny that when asked that there was any influence from politicians, and he did not deny that. He didn't confirm it, but he failed to deny it, and that is very telling. Detectives are probing what happened to more than 600,000 in donations made to the party to fund a second independence referendum when he was chief executive. Mr Yousaf was elected leader of the SNP and voted in as First Minister after beating Kate Forbes last month. But critics have questioned whether Miss Sturgeon or Mr Yousaf was aware police action was imminent when she stepped down. And allies of the runner-up last night suggested that the election should be rerun in light of recent events, with one telling the Telegraph there's been a material change in circumstances. For people to argue it should not be rerun means the party establishment had no knowledge about this, but that is quite unbelievable. It certainly is. The party knew. They absolutely knew it was coming. And there she is after losing. And I'm going to suggest that that smile is one of a woman who knows what's coming. Anyway, people within the SNP will want to avoid a rerun because Kate Forbes would win. But Humza is going to be left holding this particular ugly baby. Last night, Mr Yousaf said claims police are in cahoots with the SNP over the timing of Mr Murrell's arrest are a conspiracy theory. They might well be a conspiracy theory, but it doesn't mean it's not right. But as I say, when the top cop fails to deny that that's the case, you have to wonder. Speaking to media at his official residence, Bute House in Edinburgh, he said the last few days have been difficult and bruising for the party. Scottish Tory Constitution spokesman Donald Cameron said Mr Yousaf had not previously raised issues about governance of the party publicly and accused him of trying to distance himself from Mr Murrell in recent statements. And these belated calls for transparency and about how the SNP should be run simply will not wash. Yet he's trying to distance himself from the Murrells, from Sturgeon and Murrell, which is very odd, considering throughout the election he said he was the continuity candidate. He was he was following on and doing what they were doing. So he's obviously a liar and a hypocrite as well as everything else. But hey, that's not news. But we're just going to take a flick over to this other headline here in the Telegraph. I'm not going to go the full story on this one, but just a little bit at the top. The SNP voters were duped into backing Humza Yousaf. First Minister's election would have ended differently if people had known Peter Murrell's arrest was imminent, argue Kate Forbes backers. So Kate Forbes supporters have insisted she should have been elected leader of the SNP, as voters were duped into voting for Humza Yousaf. Furious supporters of Miss Forbes, Mr Yousaf's main rival in the leadership contest, argued she would have won and become First Minister if members had been aware that the police would detain Peter Murrell. And I think that is absolutely true. They questioned the timing of the arrest, barely a week after the leadership election, saying that members had cast their ballots without knowing about the scale of the criminality being alleged. Right, there's a lot more, but a lot of it's just going back what we've regurgitated and then it's sort of filling in what's happened. But it's undoubted that the police knew, undoubted that the police delayed the arrest until after the election, because ultimately the police are in the pocket of the SNP. And this is the whole reason you have a single police force in Scotland. With one police force, you only have to bribe or corrupt one chief constable. With several forces, it would take a lot more drinks round at Bute House and envelopes filled with cash, allegedly. That is why you have this state. You have a single party state and a single police force that are in cahoots with it, acting as that state's Stasi, effectively, and making sure that elections go the way that they're decided beforehand. You know, and it's manipulated and engineered to get the desired result with the help and connivance of the police. This is wrong. But I've done a video about that, and you can go and see that. But it is just there. So I think ultimately he will have to either resign. That ain't going to happen. That man will not resign because he has no dignity. Or the calls and the clamour for a rerun from within the party itself will be sufficient that it will be forced upon him. And I would love to see that. And I think you good people would love to see that as well. Anyway, I'm going to round this off. We'll come up and we'll finish the video. So, dear viewer, what do you think? Should he resign or should he allow a rerun of the competition? Should he even be disbarred from a rerun? This is a possibility as well. Or should he just sort of step down and hand over to Kate Forbes? It's all very complex. If he had dignity, if he had self-respect, and if he had any kind of decency about him, he would say, yes, obviously the result was tainted by what's gone on and all these other things, and so he should freely offer a rerun, just him and Kate, just a 50-50, 50-50 choice, to see if he can get the mandate. And then if he wins that on a simple, him or Kate basis, then yes, he would have legitimacy to be the leader of the party and the First Minister. But until he does that, I think it's definitely doubtful whether the legitimacy he claims is evident. And I think having only managed to garner 37%, I think it was, of the party members who voted for him, it seems that it's very doubtful he would be voted in again. But tell me what you think and down in the comments. It'd be interesting to see this one. I'd like to sort of test the waters, see where we are with that one. But anyway, I shall finish there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see in here on the channel, please do hit that subscribe button around at the bottom, ring that bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and until next time, stay safe, stay well, keep watching these buggers, and goodbye.